Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another installment of Out in the Woods. It's me, your friendly neighborhood host, Jacob. And today I have the very high honor of talking to a big game changer in the state of Mississippi that I call home. A name that you all out there might not know yet, but hopefully after today, you will know a whole lot more. Welcome to the show, Jason McCarty. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm well, Jacob. Thanks for having me. How's it going today?
It's going fantastic. We're out here in the woods. It's a nice overcast day. The fall weather is blowing on through. Perfect weather for the events that we have coming up this weekend that we'll talk about later on.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I hope you are too. It's been a fun 9 months planning. So I'm looking forward to everyone just coming and having a really good time.
So Jason, this is literally, so it's been 9 months planning. So this is literally your baby.
It has been my baby. I've actually told a couple people today, I was like, what am I going to do next week when all this is over? But I think I'm going to maybe go take a week vacation somewhere. Definitely get a massage and, just kind of sit back and relax and reflect and, everything that I can control, we're controlled. And there's always the uncontrollable with planning events. This is definitely not my first event or my largest event that I've ever planned. So you just never know what's going to happen, but I'm so excited. Jackson deserves this. Mississippi deserves this.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, especially after, I don't know, everything that Jackson has been going through, but we had the ice storm earlier this year that really devastated the city. Our crime rates are going up. I think this is just going to be an event all about love. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel that too. I hope so.
So Jason, go ahead and introduce yourself. Where are you from and what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Jason, obviously McCarty. Went to Pearl, if you're familiar with the area, and just lived pretty much a little normal life, I like to think. Raised pretty normally. Grew up, left Mississippi, went to New York City for 10 years, went to school at NYU, had a career in fashion. I was a national makeup artist for 3 different brands. So I traveled the globe on someone else's dime. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And then my mom got sick. So my mom got sick. I came back here about 5 years ago. Saw that we had gotten a little bit more gay friendly, but not as much as I felt like we could. And we started this journey. And so my everyday job, I actually do public consulting. I have some state contracts. I do some other things that I really can't tell you about, but just know it helps people.
Gotcha.
And yeah, that's me. Just a boring gay single man,
Aren't we all? There's not enough room in the Tinder bio, or the Grindr bio, depending on which app you prefer. So when did you know that you were different?
Okay, I talk about this sometimes when I get asked that question because I haven't asked that before. I remember Doogie Howser. So I think I knew Doogie was gay before anyone else did. Sure, like Patrick Harris has all come out of the closet now. Well, good for you because I already called it. No, I just remember growing up and I remember seeing him. I remember seeing Zach on Saved by the Bell. And I just knew something was different. I loved wearing my mom's high heels. I loved makeup. And I was pretty involved with theater. And eventually it all just kind of, 1 + 1 = 2. And I kind of had my first boy crush. I won't say his name in case he listens. But he knows who he was. And that journey just kind of started. And, I was lucky that I was so involved with the theater and the music department at Pearl that I never kind of got ousted or thrown aside. It was always, I was able to, I'm a creative. So I really played on like the thespian card. Like, I think it was the way my parents could accept me as well. Back in that day, I'm a lot older than I sound. So, it was something I think they could hang on to. And I think, I just played that card as long as I could.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we've all been there. I kind of empathize with you as far as the whole creative thing, having a theater degree and everything, you get to be, the thing is, like, you can say like, no, I'm just a creative free spirit. But like, at the end of the day, everybody knows, like, you're not, everybody knows, like you're gay, honey. You're just gay. I don't know. Like,
You're just either gay or European, I've been told.
Absolutely. Or apparently Shawn Mendes. Apparently, Shawn Mendes right now is apparently straight, but I don't believe him. I'm sorry. Big hot take here, right here on Out in the Woods. Shawn Mendes, if you're listening, I'm adding you. You are gay. I'm sorry, honey. I don't make the rules. So
and when you discover it, give Uncle Jay a call.
Exactly. Please. Jackson needs all of that Shawn Mendes money. Our next Pride, look, honey, Shawn, you can fund like the biggest little pride in Mississippi. So let's see. What was your upbringing like?
Really boring. No, I think, I came from a decent family. I think my family definitely had problems. I came from a family that was pretty well known, so that kind of was a struggle. My last name kind of meant something to people. So I felt like there was a lot of pressure, and that's why I think I was able to hide behind my that theatrical energy, because I could just say, oh, I just like the theater. He's not gay. I didn't play sports, any of those things, but I was the only child. I knew I was always different. I didn't know why, but then when I was 13, I found out I was adopted. So that's been like a whole journey. Still haven't quite dived into that, but I think I'm slowly getting there. But Baptist, Rankin County, football game on Friday nights, church on Sunday, homework, in bed by 9, really boring. I don't think I can't remember of a time that I like really rebelled or did anything crazy until I moved to New York City. And then I went wild. But growing up, I was grateful. I did live a normal life, as much as a normal boy that was, gay in Mississippi could live.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that you have shed all of that normalcy, even since coming back from New York?
Yeah, I can see that. I remember coming home for the holidays and I could not wait to get back on the plane and get back to New York. And then I think something changed when your mom gets sick. I came back, my father had passed away during my time in New York. So I came back and it was just my mom. And she needed me. And I kind of realized that, everyone around me had kind of grown up, but I'd kind of like lived in this fantasy land of working for Dior and traveling and all of this other stuff, which was really, really great. And I was glad I had those chapters. But, a great example, my cousin had graduated high school, like right before I moved back. And like, I don't even remember ever seeing her do anything, And so for the 10 years, like, she grew up and I never was a part of anything, and I think, Jacob, I was a bitch in New York. I was a crazy person. I was self-centered, egotistical. I felt like I had to fit in, so I did things that I'm not proud of to fit in. And I think I was just not my authentic self, and I think coming back here, and really getting into the service world and really getting into the mindset of helping others, my trajectory of life has completely changed. My attitude has changed. I'm more calm. I'm more kind. So I think those Southern things, those Southern roots has come back a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can say I'm a totally different person now. Me being able to be my authentic self
has really just changed my dynamic and who I am. And, I recognize that there are definitely maybe people listening that haven't been able to be as comfortable being who they are, and I think that comes with time. And I think it has its own sets of challenges. And I think I definitely owe New York some gratitude for giving me a little bit of courage and giving me a little bit of leadway to be who I am, and it's helped me be more like Jason. And I think that's why my role here now, I feel like that I can not be an example for others, but maybe just be who I am. And maybe if someone sees that, maybe that'll give them a little courage to be who they are, and we throw events at Capital City Pride. So I get emails all the time from people that, thanks for letting me be me. Or I got an email from some parents that said, my kid went to your block party and now they're talking to us again, and that's why I do this. People ask me all the time, and I don't know if you're going to ask me this, but I'll tell you. People ask me all the time, Jason, why do you do what you do? And Jacob, too many kids and too many young adults are killing themselves. And there's so much hate here and so much bigotry. And look, if I can just live my life how I live it, which is nothing special, and if someone sees that, and if that gives them a little bit of hope and love or courage to maybe one day be who they are, then I found my purpose. And I think that's why I get up every day and fight for LGBTQ rights here, to try to make it feel safer and more inclusive, and just to be who you want to be, because you're okay who you are. You may not be ready to be an executive director of a gay organization, but you may be willing to tell one of your friends tomorrow at school that I'm gay. And that is how this heals. By telling someone else who you are, maybe they've never met a gay person before, and they know and they love you, then they can see, oh, well, gay people are normal. And that's how we can change the trajectory of the outcome.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing that, once again, I've said it a million times on the podcast, people think like the fight was over when we won marriage equality in 2015, but the fight is far from over. I mean, there's still so much ground that we need to cover, as far as people just, at the end of the day, just leaving us alone, you know what I mean? Just letting us be,
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's hard though. Look, we have to acknowledge that we live in Mississippi. We have to acknowledge that, our brothers and sisters that are people of color are still definitely not treated equal either. And so, I tell my team all the time, there's some projects that we've been working on that just didn't get approved. And I said, baby steps, like we're being acknowledged. The mayor, spoiler alert, gave Capital City Pride its own proclamation on October 2nd. So October 2nd is officially Capital City Pride Day. So we're getting there. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it's fast enough, but I guarantee you, I've talked to people that have been doing the work that I'm doing now like 10, 15 years ago. And I tell them, I said, I had a conversation the other night. I was like, you know what? I want you to know what you did helped me be able to do what we're doing today. And what I hope I do today helps someone else in 10 years move the needle just a little bit further. And so we just have to acknowledge where we are. We'll never be New York. We'll never be Atlanta. We'll never be New Orleans, but we can be Jackson, and we can be damn good at it. And
Absolutely.
So that's why I fight every day.
Right. Well, you say we'll never be, but you never know. You never know. That's the thing, this is the birth, this is just Capital City Pride in its infancy. There's so much room for growth generations from now,
You're right. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So my next question was going to be, when did you decide you wanted to be involved in making a difference? But I think that you have kind of covered that in the previous question. So we can honestly skip ahead to to all of the different hats you wear. You know, you mentioned earlier that there were some things that you had your hands in that, you know, we're helping people that you couldn't really talk about here. That's totally fine. But let's talk about all the different hats you wear and the hats that you have worn. You have, you know, quite a story.
Yeah, I think, you know, I'm a son. I'm a father to a beautiful little Shih Tzu. Those are my two most important things. And then, you know, I'm the executive director of Capital City Pride. I'm so honored to be in that role. Um, it's completely changed my life for the better. And I just love getting up every single day and knowing that maybe I can help this place. You know, if I die tomorrow, maybe people will say, damn, he gave it a good shot, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I'm also on the board of directors of Grace House, which is a nonprofit here that helps people living with HIV. I'm very active in my church. You know, gay people can be Christians, go figure. I go to St. James. I'm pretty involved at St. James. I'm on the board of directors of the Pearl Community Theater, which is a new theater that we just started this year. I was honored to be asked to do that because I'm an alum of Pearl. So that's kind of currently my hats. And then I'm a consultant. I have about 10 contracts that I somehow manage every single day with the help of a good therapist and a lot of coffee.
God knows what a therapist and good coffee will do for you. I tell you.
Hallelujah. Yes.
So what do you do when you're not working?
Well, that's not very often right now, but when I'm not working, you know, I'm lucky that I have some great friends that live in other cities. So I like to get on a plane or get in the car if it's drivable and just kind of get away just for a couple of days at a time. But honestly, Jacob, I'm lazy. I love to sleep. I don't sleep very much right now, especially. I'm boring. That's probably why I'm single. Like I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. You know, I love trash TV. But I live a pretty normal life. I think, you know, I dealt with some addiction and some alcoholism really deep when I lived in New York. And so I've been sober for almost a year now. So that's completely,
Congratulations.
thank you. So that's been completely different. So, you know, I'm very connected in the 12-step program and a lot of therapy, a lot of journaling, and a lot of just going in my backyard and screaming sometimes. I just kind of get it out sometimes. So, yeah, that's me. I'm kind of boring, but very, very, very active, boring person.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, and really what is boring at the end of the day? I think boring is just like beauty. It's all in the eye of the beholder.
Well, thank you.
So can you describe to me the evolution of pride in Mississippi historically?
Yeah, that's a tough question because I'm still trying to figure it out too. Because there's not a lot of articles. Like if you were to Google it, you'll find like a couple because the news media just didn't pay attention to it. There are pioneers in the industry, not industry. There are pioneers in our community that definitely move the needle in the right direction. You know, there was a Pride event with Southern Unity that happened almost a decade ago. Amazing people that worked really hard. But, you know, I was asked the other day, I was like, well, what do you think the difference is between your organization and the past? And my simple answer is social media. Like we have computers, we have Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all these things that we're able to connect to, like you and I, how we connected was online.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm able to promote events and 500 people show up from all over the state. Whereas before, the only way that they could get their message across was by TV. Well, the television didn't want to talk about gay issues. The radio, good luck on that, and print. And very rarely did we have anything put in print about us. If you look in the archives, there's not a lot there. So a lot of it was just door to door, knowing who you were. But look, I mean, I talked to, there's a guy on my team that, you know, we had a great conversation the other day, and he was like, you know, the gay bar used to have the entrance in the back. And when we went in, we'd pay the security officer $1 each to watch our cars, because people's cars would get vandalized and stolen and fag would be written on it. And we're talking about not even 15 years ago. So completely, like, things have completely changed slowly in the right direction. But I think it's a lot of it's social media. I think a lot of it is the apps that you mentioned in the beginning, that people get on. And so I think, it's just people finally being a little bit more closer and being their authentic self. But, there were people way before us that have been doing this, but a lot of it was behind closed doors. A lot of it was people coming out, being gay, and telling their neighbor, I am gay and I'm a good person. And then that ripple effect just eventually became a community. And that's why I think it's important that if you're able to be your authentic self, you actually have power with that.
Yes.
Being you, like, I think your podcast is a great example. You don't hide who you are. And so people are able to relate to that, and that's when people stop me in Kroger and like, oh, I saw you on the news. Well, my old ego would be like, oh yeah. My new ego is like, okay, thank God that if they saw it, maybe some gay guy that hasn't felt comfortable coming out yet saw it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know if that answered your question. I
No,
feel like
it
I can get
does.
into like an Oprah mode. I can get into an Oprah mode. So like, if you need to be like, hey, Oprah, like, let's get back to the question. Like, I'm happy to do that too.
Well, no, I guess to kind of, guide it a little bit though, I remember feeling a little slighted because when I lived in Hattiesburg for college, that was whenever the first ever Southern Fried Pride happened down in Hattiesburg. And it was great, it was definitely a family oriented event, I think, and not assuming, I know for a fact that Capital City Pride is going to be more of a family oriented event, because we're not Pensacola Pride. Unfortunately, in my opinion, we're not going to have some fine ass bears walking around on a parade float in their jock straps and whatnot. No
Not
sequined
yet, not yet.
not yet, exactly. No sequined
Baby
angels.
steps, Jacob. Baby
Exactly,
steps.
baby steps. But yeah, no, it was a big unifying event. We didn't have much back, we didn't have really, we might have had one or two protesters on the other side of the park and everything, but ultimately, we held a march through downtown, singing, Love Won't Be Denied. And it was great. But and no offense to Starkville at all, but at the time I felt so slighted because there was a pride event later on in Starkville that was heralded as one of the first pride events in Mississippi. And I was just like, wait a minute, like Hattiesburg just did this like a year ago, Starkville. Wait a minute now. Just because your university
Those damn Bulldogs.
Right, those damn Bulldogs, just because you're on the map, just because your sports teams are worth a shit, but but no, yeah, no, it's popping up all over the place. I was just talking to a lot of Wood last week and she was there for the very first Gulf Coast Pride, which I actually missed, which happened in 2017 whenever I was living on the Gulf Coast. But I remember or 2018 when I was living on the Gulf Coast, but I remember my manager who introduced us, Steven, who is also a former guest. He was talking about how back in the day there used to be this thing called Oktoberfest in Jackson. But I don't remember the details that he told me. I just remember Oktoberfest specifically sticking out. But that was,
that might have been what. Yeah, that might have been why I was gone in New York. It hasn't been since I've been back. So I don't know. Steven must have snuck in when he was a baby. Because he's like 20 years younger than me. But, I don't know the answer to that question. I haven't, that hasn't come up in any of my research.
Well, but once again, it's like you said, everything's kind of shrouded in mystery because a lot of that was mostly word of mouth and maybe posters stuck on light poles,
Yeah.
Sure. So let's see. What do you think the next big step for our community is in Mississippi? I know that's a big question, but I feel like if anybody can answer it, it's you.
I think something that I'm working on every single day. I had a meeting today with the mayor's office, and look, to get the mayor of Jackson to do a proclamation of it being it's not necessarily being called a gay day, but it's being called Capital City Pride Day.
Yeah.
I think the only way that we're going to keep growing as a community and as an organization is to get so much attention that policy changes. We have some horrible laws on the books in Mississippi that discriminate against our trans community, discriminate against our people living with HIV community, that it's so awful that I've been working in HIV advocacy for the last 5 years, and it doesn't go anywhere. And so I think until our community feels safe to be who they want to be, then it's not gonna get any better. Now I think it can get good, and I think it can get slowly in the right direction, but until we have an elected official that says you are welcome here, you are safe here, we love you, we want you to work here, we want you to move here, we want you to go to school here, then I don't see it happening so quickly. Now I'll tell you, there's a project that I'm working on, Jacob. I can't tell you what it's about because I'll just give you a teaser. If it gets approved, it'll be imagery that says the city of Jackson supports the gay community. That's all I can tell you. We can talk once it gets approved and it gets built, then we can chat about it then. But I think until people feel safe, then people aren't going to come out, and until people come out, and the community can't grow. I feel like we have a lot of backdoor gay people, which is okay, and I love them and I respect them, and I think everyone needs their own time. But until we can all go screaming in the streets that we are who we are, you love us or you don't, then it's hard for community to grow. And I think you mentioned cities earlier, Atlanta, New Orleans, or maybe I did. Those cities have crossed that threshold that gay people don't give a fuck anymore. They are who they are, but they know that they're not going to get discriminated against at work, which is currently not a law here in Mississippi. So people can be fired for being gay, although there's a national statute. That at-will thing is a little crazy.
Yeah.
Until people can know that they can be their authentic self and not worry about police hurting them. I could go on and on and on. I think we have to have a cultural shift. Mm-hmm. And I think Capital City Pride is being able to create a dialogue for cultural shift. And that's what excites me.
Absolutely. And that's what's so exciting about, you and I are part of this city's history now, just being able to, somewhere down the line, our little gay grandbabies are gonna be like, hey, what was the first ever Capital City Pride like? And we're gonna be like, it was okay. No. No, but
it wasn't like it is today, but it was a good start. No, I think you're right. And, I'm proud to say I was the first openly gay candidate for the Mississippi House of Representatives. And I did that 2 years ago. And I ran, and I knew I wasn't going to win, but I ran to say that we can run.
Yes.
To say that gay people matter, to say that gay people deserve a voice at the table. And by me doing that, I've been able to call and get meetings with other House members that actually won. So sometimes baby steps do lead to progress. And so it's just look, we got to acknowledge not everyone's like you and me. Not everyone's comfortable being who they are. And so I want to create safe spaces. So when you're ready, I'm here waiting on you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how is your mental health?
Yeah, listen, today it's amazing. But the reason why, now I'm a little tired, it's been a crazy week. But the reason why is because I truly believe in self-care. Mm-hmm. I make sure that I get my 8 hours of sleep. I make sure that I take my medicine that I'm supposed to take that's been prescribed to me. I see a therapist. I believe in therapy. I believe if you need medicine to keep your brain balanced, you need to do it. And so my mental state today is good. But it hasn't always been good. You know, I mentioned I've gone through some addiction and some other things that that could be a whole other podcast. But you know, every day's a journey. I live 24 hours at a time. So right now I'm pretty fucking good and I'm grateful for that. But tomorrow, I mean, you could call and we could talk about tomorrow. Yesterday I was a little crazy. Some stuff happened that I couldn't control and I had to get a good balance about it. But today my mental health is good. And I'd say to anyone that they feel like it's not, reach out. You know, reach out to somebody. Tell somebody you're not feeling right. Tell someone that your body doesn't feel normal or your brain's telling you things that you know the brain actually can't speak, you know, and maybe you could get all that into check. And now I feel like I'm going into my therapy mode, so I'll stop.
No, listen, no. That's the thing. You know, a wise woman told me, you know, you should go to therapy even whenever you feel fine. And that's, you know, I think that ties into just doing self-care as a daily practice. Even whenever you're totally fine, still take care of yourself. Absolutely. So last question. I didn't write this one down and I don't know why I didn't, but it's the last question that I ask all my guests, which is if you could go back in time and give your childhood self any words of comfort or wisdom, what would they be?
That's a hard one. I think that I would go back and give myself a little grace. I think there was a couple of things that growing up that I just beat myself up about, that I just wanted to be accepted so bad that I made some pretty fucked up decisions. And I would go back and say, Jason, like, you don't have to be liked to be happy, that those people didn't care about me anyway. And if you can live your authentic self, I promise you, in 10, 15 years, you'll see the true you. And, you know, there's been some career choices that I probably could have done differently. You know, I might have gone to a cheaper college, you know, all of those things. But I think just saying to myself that I have purpose, you know, and I truly believe that we all have purpose, and it's how we find it is the hard part sometimes. I had to go through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering through my addiction to find my happiness today. And so I hope I would have probably said maybe not go to New York when you're 18. But you know, but the follow up with all of that is that if that hadn't happened to me, then I don't think you and I would be talking right now. I'd still been this selfish guy that was so worried about being popular and all those things that I probably would have never moved back here and wouldn't be in my position. So I could think about the past, but I try to just remember that not everyone's gonna like me, that it's none of my business what people think about me. And if I could just be my authentic self and be honest and true and try to make my commitments every day, then life may be okay today.
I love that. You brought up something just now that made me think. Do you think with your perspective now, do you think maybe, you know, a lot of the reason that we have a big problem in the gay community with cattiness and, you know, body image issues and everything like that is because, you know, we beat ourselves up so much when we're younger, you know, that it turns us into these people, you know, who I guess have this view of like, you know, this is my glow up, like this is my revenge glow up, you know what I mean? Like now I'm hot shit and, you know, all of the things that happened in my past can't hurt me anymore, you know?
Yeah, I could see that. You know, look, being gay in the United States is not the easiest place. Being gay in Mississippi has its all sorts of challenges,
Yeah.
and being gay in Rankin County definitely has its challenges.
God, yeah.
You know, but you know, I think there's just a different pressure for us. I think, you know, sometimes that, you know, we feel like we're letting our families down, we're letting our parents down. I know my mom wants grandkids so bad that she could hardly stand it. So I live with that. And I think, you know, as a little boy, I knew I wasn't masculine enough to play sports like my dad wanted me to. So I didn't eat. And I started like, you know, going through this phase where I wanted to start looking like other people. And then I got too skinny. So my family started feeding me more, and then I got really fat, and then it's just been all over the place. And then I moved to New York City, and if you weren't muscly, hot, and twink, like no one paid attention to you.
Right.
So yeah, I think we're just fucking mean to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we could just show a little compassion and just be more kind, and I think that starts with ourselves. I think that we have to be more kind to ourselves, and then you know, I get asked this sometimes too, like, well, how did you get so confident? Well, I got confident through a lot of bullshit, and it's taken me a long time to get where I am today. And I would just say to anyone else, like, if you could just stop worrying about what people think about you, then your life will be better. And I know that's harder said than done. Easier said than done. But yeah, it's a hard question to answer because my journey has become so different. But I'll tell you, I did a lot of things wrong, and now I do a lot of things different, and so my life has a different outcome.
I love that. And that's part of the journey, you know. And side note to everybody who's listening to, you know, confidence is just like everything else. It fluctuates daily. It does. I mean, really and truly.
Absolutely. And I believe there's a difference between confidence and cocky.
Yeah.
You know, and
absolutely.
sometimes I have to check my cocky at the door, you know, and I'm not perfect. But you know, Jacob, life has been pretty good to me. And so if I could just help somebody else, just get a little bit of happiness once in a while, even if I just, you know, I call everybody kitten. So I'm like, you know, I'll be in the store and I'll just say, hey, kitten. You know, it's funny. Like, I'm allergic to cats. I've never had cats around me, but people love kittens. You know, just being kind and happy and being yourself. And I promise you, you know, I read so much studies, and listen, if I don't know if this will make the cut, but if anyone's listening right now and you're struggling and you're thinking about like leaving the earth, please reach out. Put my social, Jacob will put my Capital City Pride's website, and all the emails automatically go out to me. You wouldn't be the first, I promise. Everything will stay confidential. There's services for people, but you do matter. You're valued. And if no one else tells you that, just start believing it in yourself. And I promise you, because this used to be me, I just started believing that I'm okay. I believe that I'm a good person. I believe that I'm going to make it. And I said that to myself so many days in a row that I started acting like it. And I know we all grow up different and we all live different lives, but just know that you're valued and you're loved, and come to Capital City Pride, October 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and just come and just be yourself. I'm going to create a very safe space for you. You know, I know this is, you don't see my picture, but look on the website or follow me on Facebook or Instagram and say hello to me. And I'll make sure that you meet a couple other people, but just come be yourself. And that's what Pride is for. Pride is an opportunity for you to just don't give a fuck about what anyone else thinks about you, and just come and be yourself. So I'll get off my soapbox now.
Absolutely. And just know that, you know, your friendly neighborhood host and a whole posse of other great queers are going to be there too. So like,
yes,
we'll be looking
we should like have a meetup.
We should. I would love that.
We'll meet on third base because it's at a baseball stadium. Third base at noon, everyone.
You better have your brass knuckles ready, honey. No.
Yes.
So on that note, to list all the shout outs, promos, and philanthropic opportunities that you have, Jason, because I know that you have them.
Yes, Capital City Pride, www.mspride.com. capital with an A, citypride.org. We have all of our events listed. It's going to be a really fun weekend this weekend. If you're not in Jackson, come to Jackson. It's going to be Friday night is a gala. Saturday, we're doing a 5K rainbow run. So if you like to run or if you want to walk like I'm going to, all the money goes to Grace House. Then the event is from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. And we have a couple of RuPaul race girls coming. Look online for that. And then Sunday, there's a brunch with another RuPaul race girl. And so if you like RuPaul, come. If you don't like RuPaul, come to meet me. I'll say hello. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. But we do events throughout the whole year. So follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, and get connected. Go to school tomorrow. Tell someone you're gay. You never know. They might say I'm gay too, and you might find a new friend.
Friend or future husband, you never know, or future wife, or future, gender non-specific spouse. So there you go.
Absolutely. But take your time, be yourself, enjoy, don't rush into those things.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming to my show. It's been such an honor having you. It's been so great picking your brain. And hopefully, maybe somewhere down the line, I can have you on a sweet tea episode and you can really spill some tea with me. All right, honey. Well, you have a great day.
All right, sweet love. I'll see you at Pride this weekend. Y'all come on out October 1st through 3rd. Capital
Woo!
City Pride. See you later.